Is this then how things must end for even a famous sumo stable building? A grieving widow with no viable option but to dismantle and replace with an apartment block? This was the scene at the former Izutsu Stable today, November the 4th, as the workmen began demolition. It has stood here for 47 years, which is a pretty long time in Tokyo, and all that time owned by the same Fukuzono family. It's nurtured a komusubi, 2 sekiwake, an ozeki, and a 6-time champion of a yokozuna alongside countless other salaried wrestlers, and it's had 2 chief referees living under its roof. And yet, from now on, not a trace of it will remain. Its yokozuna son, Kakuryu, is especially sad to see it go. This is the place he joined as a scrawny 16-year-old with limited Japanese skill, struggled to put on weight for years, shed hot tears of shame after getting walloped on his Division 3 debut, became dramatically stronger, and fought his way up to the very top. Since transferring to nearby Michinoku Stable last September following the death of the previous coach Izutsu, Kakuryu's frequently walked back to the old building to grieve in the practice area alone. The times when both he and his current coach Michinoku must have wished to rip through those walls and out into the freedom of the world outside, so grueling was the training that they did within. Now, ironically, those walls are easily coming down at the hands of men far weaker than they, and with no connection to sumo. While coaches and their families obviously have the right to use their land as they please, can't the Sumo Association, with all its access to funding, make them some more interesting offers, and play a more active role in preserving these buildings, which are, after all, fine monuments to what its own members have achieved? Stables such as Izutsu are local landmarks. Not a person in the neighborhood doesn't know them. For 4 entire decades in this very street, the Izutsu building has formed a glorious triangle with now defunct Oshima, built in 1980, and Dewanomi, which has been here since the 60s. Each building a treasure housing a wealth of local identity, which even gives the iconic Sumida River an added charm. Why can't sumo raise the funds to protect them, and better still, allow all those ex-wrestlers unable to buy elder stock the chance to run their own businesses from them? Scenes like this, all too normal in Ryogoku these days, only increase the demands for some kind of sumo heritage division to be set up by the sports managers. The sense of loss has only made it more likely Kakuryu will not compete on Sunday. He's lamented his lack of progress in training, admitted he's yet to resume practice bouts, and refused to compete if it means aiming for the bare minimum of 8 wins. There's also no word on whether we'll be seeing Hakuho on Sunday. Although he claims he's trained as normal following his dominant performance at last month's special group session, he warns that more medical consultations are needed and cannot decide until the last minute. His coach Miyagino is also drawing battle lines for a showdown with the Yokozuna committee, urging them not to bounce Hakuho into competing before he's ready. Remember, the committee is set to punish both him and Kakuryu if they fail to appear this time. For now, the 2 Yokozuna banners are flying high in expectation of what November Sumo might bring, but one is tempted to ask that they be put at half-mast when an iconic stable building such as Izutsu meets its dusty demise.